Hello, Year 5 and 6. And today, as we discussed yesterday and on Monday, it's now time for us to write our story. So we spent 2 days looking at how we're going to plan the vocabulary and the grammar aspects. And then yesterday, we planned the actual story arc using our story plan. You're going to need these two things today when it comes to planning your story and writing it out in full. We're not going to write the whole story today. We're going to focus on the opening part of the story and then introducing the problem. My key words today are quality, not quantity. We do not need to have reams and reams and reams of writing. We really want you to use that Year 5 and Year 6 knowledge of everything that you've acquired throughout school to choose the vocabulary you want to use and what sentences you really want to use to impact the reader and show the emotion in the action of what is happening within this story. So let's share the presentation today. Now, we're going to use Year 5-6 grammar and use Year 5-6 spellings. This is very open. Compared to what we normally do, we have a really strict success criteria, but it's our last piece of writing for this term. So we want you to think about everything that we've learned throughout the term and the weeks of remote education and how we're going to put this into our short story. So as we know, we're doing our lockdown writing award, where the first prize is a £10 Amazon gift voucher, second prize is a book, and third prize is a stationery set. So we need to make sure that as we're moving forward with this, what have we planned, why we plan, and how are we going to make this our best piece of writing this term. If you want to, like I've said, every single lesson this week, we've got our class notebook for us to magpie our ideas and share our ideas with friends. You have your option to post within English or under replying with the assignment or start a new conversation and tag a friend to share your ideas. So if it is a friend that you would normally sit next to in class, maybe you want to tag their name and you can share your ideas like that. That's the only option we want you to be using that post for under the English. We don't need emojis, we don't need memes, as much as fun as it is. We really want to try and give you the opportunity to share your ideas with your friends like we would do in class to get the best piece of writing. So our final thing is, how are we going to do this? How are we going to be successful in the lockdown writing award criteria? So you are going to have to use ed, ly and ing sentence starters. You need to leave the reader wanting more. And you need to use your Year 5-6 grammar targets. So these are our similes, our metaphors, fronted adverbials, relative clauses, direct speech. And remember what I said, quality, not quantity. So this is my example. And I know that I've typed this up, and there's a big difference between typing up a story and writing the story. If you're writing the story by hand, we know it's going to take a lot of effort in terms of the length and the amount that you write compared to when you type, because obviously it's quicker when we're typing. That's why we're looking at quantity, we're not looking at quantity, I must say. We're looking at quality. I've got my words mixed up. So remember, what are you going to write, and really be specific and using your plan to help you in terms of writing your story. So let's look at my shared example, and we're going to take it one paragraph at a time. Now remember to leave a line when you write a line. So we write a line, leave a line, write a line, leave a line. This means that when we come to edit our work, we can just cross out the word and put it underneath in the empty line, instead of it getting really messy and it gets hard for us to understand what we were doing on the aspects that we were going for. So what I'm doing here is this first example of the screen. I've just highlighted in green the spellings of Year 3-4, maybe some vocabulary that I've used, and I've looked for ED, so I've got exhausted and petrified as my sentence starters. So already, if we look at that lockdown writing award criteria, I've used an ED sentence starter, I've used some sort of new vocabulary, and if we look, I've actually only wrote 1, 2, 3, 4 lines, and I've already started to use all of those targets that we're going for. So it is quality and not quantity. Exhausted and petrified, comma, which is turned into a fronted adverbial. I might not even need to use the comma. I knew Kaya was right. Short sentence for impact. I had to escape. Kaya had been my only friend in this shanty town. If we did not act now, I was bound to be an Indian circus monkey boy. And that is setting my scene. I've explained it, and that's how I've decided to use my opening. You might have chosen something different. So at this point now, have a pause and start thinking about how are you going to use that opening section of your story plan and the vocabulary that you've used for your ED, ING, LY sentence starters, and how you're going to use that to input your opening of your story. Talk it over with a friend. Maybe you want to type it up in the discussion post and share with the teacher so they can give some feedback to you already. When you're ready, we're then going to move on to my next paragraph. And as we see here, I'm leaving 2 lines for a new paragraph, so it's obvious where my new paragraph starts. And I'm starting here with an ly fronted adverbial. It's showing that how it has happened. Suddenly, the hunters crashed out onto the veranda. They were making their way towards the cage. And if I was to look at this there, I know that that is the correct spelling of a group of people there. Leaping and stalking their way down the mud track, Kaya appeared. Can we see here that I've even used ing starters? I've not used it as a fronted adverbial, but again, I've ticked off one of my success criteria for that writing award of an ing sentence starter. Kaya appeared. Quick, Will. You saw, I saw, you go now. Direct speech. And really look at how we've used that inverted comma. Then we've used a capital letter after the inverted commas. And before we end the speech, we've got punctuation and our end of direct speech with another set of inverted commas. The orangutans were covered in the corner of the cage. I whispered my mantra, tiger, tiger, burning bright. And as you can see there, I've used different words said, and I've used some prior knowledge of the story. My hands were calloused and bruised, but we frantically soared. We could smell the pungent scent of the hunters getting closer, their raucous laughs getting louder. Crack! The cage snapped like a stick. So, as you can see there, I've ended my opening with some action. So it's linking to the next paragraph and making the reader think, oh, that's what's just happened. Let's read on to the next paragraph to find out. It's leaving the reader wanting a little bit more. That is where we're going to get up to with our story today. The only need the opening is going to be 1 or 2 paragraphs at most. And again, remember, share your ideas on the notebook, tag a teacher or tag a friend and share your ideas there. When we share our work, go and share it with your family members, with a sibling, see how they enjoy the story. And remember, constructive feedback is always a good thing. Maybe it's going to make us a better writer. If we remember, it takes us 10,000 times to become a professional or to get good at something. So we have to keep repeating and keep practicing that perfect opportunity to edit our work and to choose specific vocabulary. It isn't that you're doing nothing wrong. It just means that we're making it better and we're getting it even more incredible for when we come to read aloud on Friday. So, have you used an ED, an LY, or an ING sentence starter? At this point, you might have only used an ED self-starter. You might have just used an ING sentence starter, but you're slowly clicking and getting through what you were doing. Have you left the reader wanting more? Have you been able to use one or a couple of these examples of our grammar targets? And just read back. If you're already on your 4th or 5th paragraph, you're probably looking at more quantity. It's still potentially a quality piece of writing, but this is a short story. So we only really need 2 paragraphs at most for our opening. So really be specific on what we're choosing to write. We're really excited to see the work that you're doing. Feel free to ask a teacher for help. Don't turn in your whole piece of writing from the assignment today, as remember, it's going to get lost. You can keep it and then we can carry on tomorrow and turn it in as a whole. If you want to turn in your work today, make sure that you've saved a copy if you're doing it on a computer so that you can come back and carry on writing tomorrow. We really are looking forward to seeing the work that you produce. Miss Bruce and Mrs. Kirby are going to be offering any feedback, and myself and Miss Edwards are in school, but we are so excited to hear the stories on Friday. Have a great day and have a great time writing your stories, year 5 and 6. Bye-bye.